Hello subscribers, here is an opinions video, and this time I'll be giving my opinions on the new Jurassic World Primal Attack toys that were revealed today. So let's start with this one, which is a young Ankylosaurus, which I think is supposed to be part of Camp Cretaceous, which explains its cartoonish appearance. And because of the cartoonish appearance, I thought this was part of like Play School, till it was confirmed that it's part of the main Jurassic World line, which shocked me. And yeah, I'm kind of on the fence of picking this one up. I'm not sure, I'll have to see. Next up, we have this really cool repaint of the Mosaurus. Now, I know it has the same exact patternings as the first Mosaurus figure, but this repaint actually looks really good. There's actually plenty of repaints that actually look good in this line. So this one, I might get, but, I'm trying to save my money, trying to get, the new sculpts first. Next up, we have a Velociraptor repaint, which uses, of course, the same exact sculpt we've seen many times since 2018. And yeah, it's a cool repaint, but, like I said, I'll try to avoid buying repaints this time. Here's another repaint Velociraptor. Cool green colors, but like I said, I'll try to, avoid buying some repaints. Next up, we have a Dimorphodon. Now, this is actually a really cool repaint of the Dimorphodon. I thought the greenish blue and the orange one from 2018 was going to be the best. Oh, I think this one might be the best, actually. So yeah, this is a repaint I'll most likely be getting. So that's the Dimorphodon. Next up, we have this Gallimimus here, which sports the colors of the Kenner Gallimimus figure, which had an awesome paint job but a crappy sculpt. This one, you're actually getting that awesome paint job on a good sculpt this time. And sadly, the paint doesn't continue all the way down the tail, which is unfortunate. But yeah, this attack pack I'll definitely be getting. Next up, we have one of my most anticipated ones, which is the Troodon. Now, this one, of course, resembles the one from Jurassic Park the game, except that this one doesn't sport that scary blank white eye that the one in the game had. But see, the detailings, the proportions on here look amazing, and I really like how he's in the crouching pose, and the arms don't look to be pronated either. And every part of its body is articulated, from the jaw to the neck, the limbs, and the tail. And yes, this one I'll definitely be getting. And of course, it's an attack pack, so it's most likely going to be good. Now let's move on to the Savage Strikes. First up, we have a Monolophosaurus repaint. Now this repaint looks decent. I really like how the top starts with a gray, then it goes out to black. But, I'll most likely be skipping out on this one. I'm already satisfied with my two other Monolophosaurus figures. Now let's move on to the next one. Here we have a Plesiosaurus repaint. Now this is actually one of my favorite repaints for Primal Attack. And I really like, the blue that they chose for this figure. And also, it's the accurate counter shading that most prehistoric marine reptiles are known to have. And yes, now this one will be a nice addition to my collection. Nice to have a third Jurassic World Plesiosaurus toy. Now, the third Savage Strike is a Stygimoloch. Yes, we've seen this sculpt many times, and I wasn't a huge fan of this sculpt. The plastic was cheap, and also these are some pretty drab colors right here, so I'll definitely be skipping out on this one. Now let's move on to the Sound Strikes. Here's a figure that everyone's excited for, which is the Irritator. Now this figure kind of fell below my expectations, and I'm kind of mixed about it. Let me go over the bad stuff first. The tail seems to be a bit on the smaller side, the claws aren't painted, and the body seems to be a bit fat. Also, the blue patterning doesn't continue all the way down the tail. But let's go over the good things about this figure. The colors look really nice. I like how, it's given like an aquatic look, because, most Spinosaurs were at least semi-aquatic. And also, it has an articulated jaw like the Cryolophosaurus. So there will be more posability with this figure. And also, in Collect Jurassic's video, I heard the sound effects on this figure, and it has the Jurassic Park 3 Spinosaurus roar, which is fantastic, because at least you're not giving them T-Rex roars. So that's the Irritator. Here's the Majungasaurus, which is another figure that everyone's excited for. And I'll have to say, the proportions, the detailing, and the pose, I really like it. But two things I do not like is the paint job and the eyes. It suffers from the same issue as the Sargassougas, where it has a really nice sculpt, but, it's kind of ruined by a cartoonish eye. And I really don't I'm really not a huge fan of the colors either. One thing I will praise them for is that they didn't go for a lime green color like the battle damaged green Triceratops. But the striping on the neck looks kind of unnatural. It kind of reminds me of, a bottle of Sprite soda. So that's the Majungasaurus. I'll definitely be getting this one because it's a new species. And also looks pretty cool. Here's the Parasaurolophus Soundstrike, which is an obvious retool of the dual attack Parasaurolophus. As you can see, the neck right here and the back seems to be a little bit of a different sculpt, which is nice. And see, basically the same exact thing, the same exact yellow, similar patterning. And this one, I might get it, might not. I'll have to see. Next up, we have this really cool Soundstrike Baryonyx. And this paint job, it looks cool, but it looks really familiar. I just can't place my finger on it. As you can see, the proportions are nice, and look, the jaw looks to be articulated like the Cryolophosaurus. So yeah, this is a soundtrack I'll most likely be getting, even though it's a retool. But it's a good retool though. Next up, we have a Triceratops. A decent paint job. The blue looks pretty cool, but I think I've kind of had enough of the Mattel Triceratops. Last, here we have the Soundstrike Pteranodon. Now, this red paint job looks pretty cool. It looks similar to the red Attack Pack Dino Rivals Dimorphodon. But like with the Triceratops, I kind of had enough of the Pteranodon, so I'll definitely be skipping out on this one as well. Here we have the Roarivores Ceratosaurus repaint. Now, I think these colors are actually closer to the Jurassic Park 3 Ceratosaurus render. Now, I really like this repaint. I really like how it's gray. I think it actually works more with the red, but sadly, the black or brown striping doesn't continue all the way down the tail. I wish Mattel was to fix that. But yeah, this is another one of my favorite repaints I'll definitely be getting. Next up, we have another Baryonyx. It's a cool repaint, but I think I kind of had enough Baryonyx in my collection. I'm already satisfied with my 2018 one, which is the best Baryonyx figure Mattel has released so far. Let's move on to the massive biters. Here we have a Stegosaurus, which the paint job I like it more than the Dino Rivals for sure, but this seems like the 2018 one. As you see, it has basically the same exact patterning, but a different color. And the colors aren't really all that interesting, so I'll definitely be skipping out on this one. Here we have the Albertosaurus, which I think is massive biters. As you can see, the position of the legs is different from the battle damage one. And yeah, I'm really not a huge fan of these colors. It seems like all of the Albertosaurus figures don't really have super appealing colors. So this one I'll definitely be skipping out on. Also because it's just another retool. Next up, we have another massive biters, which is the Sarcosuchus. And yeah, these colors I do not like at all. The colors of the first figure was so much better because it actually suited Sarcosuchus as it was like a freshwater swamp creature. This looks more like an animal that lives in the sea, but we all know Sarcosuchus was a freshwater animal, not a sea animal. So yeah, this one I'll definitely be skipping out on as well. Here we have the Camp Cretaceous electronic Carnotaurus, nicknamed Toro, I think. And yeah, I'll definitely be skipping on this one. This is just the Control and Conquer Carnotaurus with the paint job of the Action Attack Carnotaurus, and also the sloppily painted battle damage scar right there. So next up we have the Electronic T-Rex, which I think is also from Camp Cretaceous. The proportion on this figure looks pretty cool, and it has an action feature similar to that of the Massive Biters. And the eye looks a bit cartoonish. Like I said, most likely because it's part of Camp Cretaceous. And for certain, I'll probably like this more than the Bite and Fight and Thrash and Throw T-Rex, which were garbage figures in my opinion. Last but not least, we have the super colossal Indominus Rex. Now this figure looks fantastic in my opinion. The sculpt, the detailing, the proportions, the colors, everything is good. Very similar to the Destroy and Devour, except the feet look to be more in proportion to the body. And yeah, I think this was more appropriate to make than the Super Colossal Blue, which in my opinion was a waste of resources. The Colossal Blue really isn't in scale with anything. They should have made a Super Colossal Spinosaurus instead. Because, it's nice to have colossal figures of the 3 giant carnivores from the Jurassic Park franchise. Well, there you have it, guys. These are my opinions on the new Jurassic World Primal Attack figures that were revealed today at the Universal Pre-Show Toy Fair. And of course, the New York Toy Fair is going to be tomorrow. So I can't wait to see some of the new figures they have. The only figures that haven't been shown yet was the Alioramus, the Scutosaurus, the Sinoceratops, and the Seots Micrororum. Now, if you guys like this video, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video.